If you want to win games, you gotta have a great lockdown defense. And in this video, I'm gonna give you 10 different tips that I've used to help me win tens of thousands of dollars that there's a good chance you probably just don't know. And after you learn these, you're gonna get more stops, which means you're gonna allow less points and you're gonna win more games. So if that's something you wanna do, let's get into the video. So I wanna start here with a feature that not enough people use that could be a massive difference maker when you're running man coverage. And you see right there, Travis Hunter on a slant route totally cooks this man. You see Travis Hunter right here. He's on a slant. And if you look at our defense, we are in man coverage. Now, Travis Hunter is going to win against this man coverage very consistently. But there's a couple of things we can do. The first one is a basic idea called shading. You've probably heard of this before, but we're going to deep dive this into something I don't think you've heard of. So, shading on defense is simply by pressing Y or triangle. It's going to bring up the coverage adjustment screen. With the right stick, we can shade over top, we can shade inside, outside, and we can shade underneath. This is pretty straightforward. If you think someone's running a streak, you might shade over top. Then they're running a drag, you might shade underneath. Now, you can actually combine shading over top or underneath with shading inside, outside. So you could shade inside and underneath. Keep that in mind because right here, watch how that's going to defend this slant. We shade it inside and underneath. That slant is totally bagged and actually gets picked off. That is Travis Hunter getting bagged on a slant. Why did that happen? Because we shaded underneath and we shaded inside. We totally guessed this route correctly. That's an idea we're going to talk about a little bit later in this video. But Y triangle, shade underneath and shade inside. And again, let's show the consistency of this. Let's go again to the slant. Bang, Travis Hunter is getting bagged. Now keep in mind, you can get beat doing this still, right? This is not 100%, but it's going to increase your odds a ton. But let's actually dive a little bit deeper and say, man, I don't want to shade everybody inside and underneath because when you press Y triangle, that's all of your coverage. So let's actually just press Y triangle, but then hit A. See A right here is individual. This would be X on PlayStation. This is going to bring up an individual coverage screen, which we can select Travis Hunter. Now right here, we can shade Travis Hunter inside or to the right. We can shade him to the left. We can back off or we can press him. So here, I'm going to actually shade him to the right. And then I'm going to do the same thing and shade and press. And that's going to shade him underneath, basically. Now, watch what happens here. Everybody else is doing their normal thing. Travis Hunter, again, is going to get shaded underneath. Now, keep in mind, Travis Hunter, he is a dog. But that's going to be much better than what we were doing before with no shade, where Travis Hunter is going to win pretty consistently. Right there, I guess he is able to catch it. Right there, he gets a little bit, I mean, he's still open. But notice, like, there is in my opinion, there is a massive, massive difference. The way I'll do this a ton is do some sort of shade underneath, and then I might shade one individual receiver based on what I think they're doing. If someone's running a lot of corner routes on you, let's say number 5, this left slot wide receiver is running a bunch of corners, you can press Y or triangle A, and then select him and go out or left on the right stick, because that's where that corner route's going to go. And you'll see when we run this corner, he's going to play that corner. Now, I don't know if we shaded underneath right there or not, but you see we keep outside leverage on him. Let's say I think he's going to run a drag from the slot. Well, I might just shade everybody underneath. Let's go Y or triangle, shade everybody underneath. Then we'll go into our individual, and we'll go right here. And now if we take a look at this, we'll see how well he defends him here. Does a pretty good job. He's right on his hip. That's really good. Again, this will change based on whatever your opponent is doing to you. But if you can start predicting what your opponent's going to do, guess what? You're going to be able to take a lot of the stuff they do away just by running man coverage. Now, all these tips we're talking about throughout this video are great, but if you want entire defensive schemes, along with offensive schemes, weekly tips, and a community of over 2,000 people, join my website, civil.gg, which is linked to the top of the description. Again, we have entire breakdowns on the best defenses right now in the game to use that are going to start getting you more stops, which means you're going to win more games. You can use code CIVIL30 for 30% off, and after you do that, let's get back into the video. So I want to talk about 2 ways that you can get way faster pass rush in College Football 25. And this is really focusing on any kind of formation that has 4 defensive linemen on the line of scrimmage, like you see right here. So things like nickel over, things like big nickel over G or 4-2-5 over G are examples of this. So first thing we want to do is go left on our D-pad and go up on the left stick. This is going to spread our defensive line. Then we're going to go left on the D-pad, and we're going to change that point of attack to slant outside. And when we look at this, you're going to see all of our pass rush angles are attacking the outside. Now, of course, are there holes when we do this? Yes. But what I've noticed is that this can just get some pretty cool sheds like you see right there. And a lot of times, people love to drift back in the pocket. So this will make them have to have good pocket presence if they want to expose the middle of our defense. A little tidbit for you is that if you do this, and then you press RB or R1 and guess play pass, this will get you quicker sheds. Keep in mind, if you're wrong and they run, you will have much more issue stopping the run against this. So I like guessing pass on obvious pass situations, or if my opponent's very, very pass heavy, something like that. It is a little bit of a risk. Now, keep in mind, with this spread and crash up, they could take off up the middle. So if you wanted to counter that, you could pinch, right? And then we could actually go slant inside. This won't be as good of a pass rush, but this will help take out that inside as we get a crazy hurdle right there. That's kind of nuts. This will help. I think this is a decent pass rush. It's better than the normal one. And they can't take off up the middle as they could earlier. So just something to keep in mind. Two different ways. And guessing pass also works here as well. This is an easy way to get. That hurdle's nuts. I don't know why we're getting that. That is crazy. I just want to, just so we're on the same page. I am on Heisman. I don't know how that's even, don't know how that's happening. But, yeah. Oh, all right. I guess I got to pick my play here. We'll go cover 3 match. That's right. I wanted to run that blitz that I wanted, so we got to do this, and then I got to go all the way over and get my user over. Oh, no, they snapped the ball already, and they passed it, and they've dotted me because my defense wasn't set up. Has this ever happened to you before, right? Where you're trying to set up something that you probably learned from somebody, or maybe you have something that requires something on defense where you have to adjust, right? You're doing things pre-snap. Now, a lot of times you'll see people talk about, hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z pre-snap, and you're probably like, dude, I don't have enough time to do this. One, it takes some muscle memory to make these adjustments, right? That's why for a lot of my content here, we try to do like one thing at a time, maybe 2 things, where it's like, hey, here's a couple of things, we can get that done. But I'll tell you a mistake that you're probably making a ton, which is when you break the huddle on defense, you need to be, right here, you need to have started making adjustments already. You can't get to here and be like, oh, yeah, that's right, I wanted to blitz this guy and move him in, and then, oh, they snapped it, and they threw the ball, and it's caught for a touchdown. And actually, it dropped. Right, you have to do it, like, your timing should be, oh, here we go. Okay, I wanted to move him in, boom, boom, boom. Now, notice I've shaded my coverage underneath, I blitzed somebody, and I moved him inside before they could even snap the ball. The quarterback wasn't even set yet. So now I'm totally ready. If you wait and you get to this point where they can snap the ball, then you start making your adjustments, no bueno, right? Because they can snap the ball, and you don't want to be caught in the middle of making adjustments. Nice. What you need to do, as soon as you break the huddle, you should start making your adjustments already, which means that when you're in the huddle, when you're in the play call screen, you have an idea roughly of what you want to do. Keep in mind that if you do a lot of stuff based on what formation they come out in, right, you can actually see that before you pick your play. So right here, I'm going to pick a play. Now, oh, we actually can't. In online gameplay, you can see it, where it shows their formation. It says what formation they're in. Keep that in mind. You can't do that, and I'm in an offline game against, I have 2 controllers here, so you can't see the offline game, which makes sense because you're offline, I guess. But you can do that, which is a massive, massive help to you. And at this point, when they're already set to snap the ball, you should have already made the adjustments you want to make. Start making them as soon as you break the huddle. Don't hesitate, because that's where you have blown defense, blown coverages, and easy touchdowns that you give up. Have you ever gotten just totally killed by a single receiver, like all game? Your opponent just keeps on spamming him over and over again. It almost feels like the dude's like unguardable. I have this happen to me a lot when I play against very high level players. A lot of times for me personally, it's the tight end. The tight end could totally kill me, whether it's corner route, streaks, drags, whatever it might be. Here's a fun little tip that you can do to slow down that high level receiver that they clearly want to pass the ball to a ton. What we want to do is, I like to do this from a zone cover set, but you don't have to technically. So we'll do cover 3 though for right now. So here it is. I'm gonna press A or X on PlayStation, and I'm gonna go up on the right stick. So that's gonna select man coverage. From here, I'm gonna man myself, Wahlberg in this case, up onto the tight end, who is A right here. Now, we're manned up, but there's another step we wanna do. I wanna get on top of this guy, around right here, and if you notice, there's actually a little like icon above my head that says left stick plus A is gonna man press. What that's gonna do is if you push the left stick down, notice what I just did right there. I just pressed that tight end, and that threw him off his route, and I was able to stick on his hip. So that was pressing the left stick down and holding A, it'd be X on PlayStation. So let's do this again right here, where I'm going to stand a little bit over here now, And you see I'm able to engage that. And now with my user, I actually work to the middle of the field. I can go wherever I want to after that. This is one of the cool... Okay. This is one of the coolest ways that I have found to slow down somebody. Now, this also works for... Man, let's say they keep on spamming this guy. I'm going to stand right here. Boom, engage. Boom, and now we're with them. Now, keep in mind, they could beat you. This does depend a little bit on the receiver's release rating, and if you have a good, if you have good press on defense. There's also some abilities, I believe it's Jammer. I'm like kind of drawing a blank, but I think it's Jammer, right? That is a man press ability. You can also do this in zone coverage. Like right here, you see above me, it says zone chuck. This works, you just won't stick with them, and I missed right there. You want to get close enough to make sure you can make contact easily, or else you could just whiff. But right here, boom, you can chuck him, although chucking is a little bit worse. And gotta see that right here. Let's see if we can get a good zone chuck. Right here, boom. Wow, we are not able to get it at all. I've gotten it before, but I don't really use that. Because a zone chuck is just like a pop, right? Whereas that press, you're gonna kind of run with him a little bit. Can we get this zone chuck, please? We're just not getting it. Fine. Don't do the zone chuck, although it is something that you can do. I love that user press, though. Some people, you'll hear it get called a zombie walk, where, let's go right here. And this happens a lot like on streaks or something, or like on deep seams, where, you know, we press that guy, and sometimes you get a really good press on him. He'll like super just like zombie walk up the field. I call it a user press, but it's a cool little thing that you can do. So you may have heard of the idea of switch sticking before, which is essentially when you're in coverage, like you see me right here, I can flick this right stick in any direction and take that coverage defender. We'll go up right here, and notice that I am currently on this high safety. If I go down, we're on this middle backer, and we get sacked right there. The right stick allows you, when you're in coverage, to switch between different defenders, which is incredibly useful to take away certain routes. But what if you get caught on a blitzer? Okay, let's say Edwards is blitzing right here, and I hit that right stick. That's actually just gonna hit stick me. And you see, we get hit stick. There is still a way to switch stick in this situation, which is by pushing the left stick in the direction where you want to go and tapping B or circle. That'll get you on a coverage defender. Let's show more of an example right here where I'm gonna pretend that I get stuck on a defensive lineman and I don't want to be. Or maybe I want to try pass rushing it first, and then I want to get into someone in coverage. So we go here. Now I want to get to that middle backer. I'm gonna go up on the left stick, B or circle. Now I can start using switch stick with the right stick again, okay? Notice how we're be able to go between different players right here, and they force a throw, and they throw almost a dot. This is just a nice way in case you're ever on a blitzer and you want to switch stick. This is a strategy I've seen some people do where if they have a dominant defensive lineman, like let's say Stevens is right here, we'll pretend. I don't know who he is, but he's probably not dominant. Right, boom. Do I win immediately? No, I'm switch sticking off, and now I'm on somebody else like I am up here. I'm able to help make a play on something, okay? When you're on a blitzer, just simply push the left stick in whatever direction you want to switch to, tap B or circle, and then you can use switch stick with the right stick from there on out as you just normally would. I want to talk about a kind of cool style of blitzing that might just be beneficial to you no matter what real defensive scheme you're in, okay? So what we want to do right here is on defense, let's find a blitz, or a play rather. Right now I'm in the 3-3-5 tight defensive playbook. Teams like Appalachian State, Georgia, and West Virginia, also a few others run this playbook. I'm going to be in 2-3 odd, and I want to find a play where we have a blitzing linebacker on the right side. Cover 4 quarters does this perfectly. Now, when we have this, if we take this blitzing linebacker, notice where his blitz angle is. If we just move him over here, notice that blitz angle stays, and it's a little bit of a cross. People call this a loop. And when he loops, a lot of times this guy can come free or get a quick shed like you see right there. Wow. Nice. This is one of the better styles of blitzing you could do in the game, and it's pretty easy to set up. We're just going to move this guy over here, and we're ready to go. I like to get my user kind of close to the offensive line to help distract them a little bit, but this can be done out of a lot of different formations. Something I see people struggle with this style of blitzing is they'll try to move this guy right here, and he'll automatically move back. If that's happening to you, you're moving him too far low. You want to get behind this linebacker, and then I get my guy right here. Bang. Right, we're able to get into coverage, do whatever, and we get this nice little loop right there. You do it for a bunch of different formations. On offense, if you want to take that away, run play action. Keep that in mind. It's just a cool blitzing style that you can do. There's holes in it. There's ways to beat it. It's not overpowered. It's just good. I want to share it with you guys. People always ask me, Civil, how do you stop corner routes? Civil, how do you stop corner routes? Civil, how do you stop corner routes? And the thing is, corner routes every single year for the history of football video games are going to be good, are going to be overpowered, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, you can absolutely stop these bad boys. So I'm gonna give you a couple of ways of how to do that. The first and foremost is if you don't want to be involved with your user at all, the easy thing you can do here is actually man up somebody to that corner route. So right now I'm in a basic cover 3, and Gideon, we'll call him Gideon. I don't know if that's pronounced right. We're gonna press A or X on him, go up on the right stick, and then select the receiver who's running that deadly corner route, who in this case is the tight end. Now, if we wanted to do that shading that we talked about earlier, we could press Y or triangle and shade outside, and watch how Gideon is going to play this corner route. Now, keep in mind, ratings play a factor right here, but corner route is now bagged, interception if you click on. Okay, easy way. And of course, if Gideon's way worse than the tight end, then yeah, the tight end might cook him still. But this is a way that you can start slowing down these corner routes, at least make it a tougher throw so they have to get a good pass lead, right? Like this is a pretty hard throw, and it actually ends up getting picked off. So an easy way right there is to do it like that. Remember, when you're making adjustments, like we talked about earlier, you want to do that as soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't be like, what should I do? Make that adjustment fast. Next thing we do is actually utilizing switch stick. So what I'll do sometimes when I see a corner route developing is I'll actually try switching onto a defender into that area and going to bait that, because I know people love throwing corner routes, right? We all probably know that. So when this happens, I'm like here. Oh, corner route. I'm going to actually go jump that and try to get underneath it, okay? Whether that's with a flat defender or a deep zone defender. So let's do something like this. Let me, for the sake of the video, I'm just going to QB spy and get no pass rush. And then right here, oh, we're good. Oh, corner route. Bang. Now, keep in mind, when you switch stick, you can leave something else open. But if you're a good switch sticker, you've probably, or rather, you can bait people into throwing interceptions, and you've probably thrown an interception to a switch stick before. Right here, let's see if I can switch onto the flat zone, and this is a little bit safer. Switching onto deep blue is a little scary. Right here, bang. Oh, corner route. Bang. See, I'm up here. We're gonna at least make it a tough throw by switching onto a flat zone. So just 2 different ways you could do it. Use a man up, right? Or switch stick to a defender in that area. Keep in mind, man ups can get beat. In this case, so we are bagging, which is nice. Just 2 easy ways. So I see this one all the time. Civil, how do we stop jet touch passes? And these are like jet sweeps. It's really anything that looks like this right here, where essentially when they call this play, you'll see this jet motion, and they're usually just trying to get to the outside. This can be very frustrating. I'm sure you've played against a buddy who spams these, or you might be a spammer. I don't know. 2 easy ways to stop this, okay? And mind you, these are really good. So I say easy ways. They're easy to implement. They can be tough to stop still, though. First and foremost, user somebody who's not on the line of scrimmage. So one of these guys, no bueno. We need to be him, Abraham. We need to be Brown. We could be Gilmore. We could be Watson, whoever. When you see this motion, you need to get momentum going in that direction. So you see it? Oh, get momentum going up like this to be able to come down kind of hard and force them back inside. We want to try to attack that outside shoulder of the ball carrier so that they have to force it into the teeth of our defense. If you're a little bit late with your loop, the game will actually freeze you with your user. So if you ever have that happen where like you're trying to move and they just won't let you move for a second, it's because like it's weird. You just didn't have enough momentum. Basically, where it'll freeze you. So you just got to kind of see that coming a little bit sooner. Sometimes, for me, usually, the first time someone calls it, they catch me. But after that, I see that formation, and I start predicting it, okay? So just something to keep in mind. So that's one way, just to get that loop. Next way is, when you see this, use B or circle on the left stick. You can actually like choose who you're switching between. So when I see this, I go, oh, shoot. I hop on somebody on that side, and I just try to come down super hard. I don't love that as much, but some people do find success with it, and they find it a little bit easier. Another example might be, oh, shoot. And I'm just going to shoot this down all the way and just get an extra body there. Again, like you see it kind of get exposed right there. This has worked a ton. It's worked for me some. I've seen it work for a lot of other people, and some people just have success with it, so I just want to show it to you. I prefer the looping method, where we take somebody on the side it's coming from. Like right here, let's say, oh, shoot. Okay, I'm getting up with my user, and I'm coming down, and notice how we're able to stop that pretty consistently like that. What you can't do is this. Oh, touch pass? You can't just come straight down like I did with my user there. And if we watch the replay on that, notice how I'm not doing anything. We need to get our user out in space, looking to stop this. So we're here, bang, boom. If they make me miss, or they break a tackle, it's like, dang, good job. So I did want to talk about my coaching adjustments here on defense. When you're in the play call screen, you do have to set this at the beginning of each game, unfortunately. But we're going to click the right stick in right here and bring up our coach adjustments. Now, the ones I like, we're going to work through these, is auto flip defensive play call. We're going to leave on. The only time you want to turn this off is one, if you're just a little bit more of an advanced player and you have like a specific reason. Sometimes certain blitzes you'd want this off for. But as a general rule of thumb, on is good because it's going to match the strength of your defense with the strength of your of the opposing offense automatically. So if they have 3 tight ends to the right side, ideally you have the strength of your defense to the right side, right? Or however that might work out. So just something to keep in mind. Quarterback matchups is a coach adjustment that sometimes gets bugged out based off of it's just weird. I just leave this at balanced. It can bug out sometimes. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And if you ever see like your DBs randomly run across the field, especially if they motion or something like that, and it's just kind of like finicky, make sure this is just at balanced. Okay. Defensive motion response, I leave it default. I never really touch this ever. I just like it at default. Option defense read key. We're gonna put this at conservative. That's gonna focus on the QB on any kind of read options. That way, our user is only responsible for the halfback, and our CPU will defend the QB from keeping it. I feel like on most read options, the killer is the QB keeping it, so I just don't ever want them to get the chance to do that. Option defense pitch key, I actually want to focus on the pitch on this option and make them keep it with their quarterback here. Usually, the quarterback's going to keep it into the teeth of the defense. He's going to get worn and torn, and if they do make the mistake of pitching it, then it's going to be a turnover probably because that pitch guy is being played. So I just like this at aggressive. Keep in mind the option defense pitch key can be a little bit iffy in terms of it's just something that can bug out sometimes. So keep that in mind. Strip ball, I always keep this at balanced. Conservative, there's no reason really to ever go conservative. And aggressive, you will get the CPU going for more strips, but you can get more face masks when doing this, and that 15 yards just isn't worth it. Plus, I usually go for strips manually by clicking onto players and spamming the right bumper. Something to keep in mind. Tackling, I also keep this at balance. End of game situations where you need a turnover. Aggressive isn't a terrible idea here for an AI hit stick. There's no risk of a penalty. It's just more broken tackles. I never really go on conservative here. Balance is typically what I'll do. Now, zone drops, I'll keep these at default unless a specific situation happens. A good example of this is if someone is hitting me with a bunch of drags, I'll put my hooks to 5 so that they play low to the line of scrimmage and that they're going to defend any kind of short underneath route like a drag. Hooks, by the way, are those yellow zones. Keep in mind, zone drop flats will apply to cloud flats, soft squats, and hard flats. So if you have these at 30, all 3 of those will play at 30. And zone drop curl flats applies to seam flats, quarter flats, and curl flats. All 3 of those. So you have this at 30, those will play at 30. So just something to keep in mind with these. But this is the adjustments I keep. Feel free to screenshot at any point or write these down. You can tweak these as the game goes on, especially these zone drops. This can be situation specific. Next I want to talk about is a question I get a ton, which is my gameplay settings. Now, if you pause the game or go into the main menu, go into options and click settings, you can bring up this screen right here, and we're going to go to gameplay helpers. Now, the first one I always do is auto flip defensive play call, which is actually a coaching adjustment. We're going to put this as on. Defensive ball hawk, we're going to have on as well. It's just going to help our user controlled defenders attack the ball a little bit better. And then defensive heat seeker, I want on with a heat seeker window size of 200. There is some debate on this, so I'm literally just going to tell you my experience with it, which this works for me. I have no issues with it. If you have a different experience, sweet. This is just what works for me. I remember I talked to Throne, if you ever heard of Throne, who's a YouTuber, and he's had this at off. He didn't like, I think, if I remember correctly, this was a while ago. He didn't like this at off, and he had this at 100 for a while, and he didn't like it at 100 either. So I think me and him both had the same on this. Again, different people have different things. How much this even plays a major factor, I don't know. Being super transparent, this is just what I use, and I have no issues with it. So keep that in mind. Switch stick delay, I want this at slight. That means you won't accidentally switch stick right at the snap of the ball. It takes about a half second for you to be able to do that. So if you're making adjustments, you won't accidentally switch stick. So just something to keep in mind. I don't think you should ever use moderate, and you never want this disabled. It's either none or slight. Those are the 2. Defensive switch assist, I have this as off, although I've seen some people have it on. Just I have it off right now. Again, these can be very preference-based, just being super transparent with you. And sometimes it's a little bit unclear what these actually affect. There's a lot of hearsay of what these affect, but it's very hard to actually definitively prove how much defensive heat seeker window size between 190 and 200 makes a difference. Just super hard to prove. honestly. Like, and I've tested this like for years now. This has just been a thing. This is just what I use though. Hopefully that's helpful. If you got value from this video, you want entire schemes and to join a community of 2,000 plus members, check out my website, civil.gg, which is linked in the top of the description. Right now, you can use code CIVIL30 and get a cool 30% off, which will unlock all of our content on the site. Over 98% of members say that they've won more games since joining.